about social media anymore.
Well,
I was just
we're live.
I was just proud of
Yay.
myself. I got on there and I was like, I went through like 30 like things that were scrolling up. So I was I don't know.
He
I was
cleared
pretty-
out his inbox.
Oh no, I did not. I have like
Oh.
166
Oh,
things, and I have like I don't know 15 or 20 people that like are suggested people or not suggested, but people that are like, hey, would you be my friend or something? I'm like,
I'm not liking the fact that a lot of those
So
suggestions pop up
terrible.
on my inbox now. Because it's like, okay, a lot of these people I kind of know, but some of them are just like, did they send a friend request?
I don't know. It's
like
creepy.
sometimes
It's
I'm like
creepy
really
now,
early in the
man.
morning. I'm just like, oh, okay, whatever. I accept. I kind of know who you are. And then I wake up and I'm like, they accepted your friend. It's like they didn't send me one. What?
I don't know. As wonderful as social media is, I would say social media definitely has its like anxietal drawbacks.
Oh, it does.
But anyway, welcome
back.
everybody. Welcome
Tom,
to
nice
Biblical
to see
Chili.
you
Yes,
again.
yes.
Mhm.
Susanna, yeah. And you did have a baby at one point. Uh-oh.
It crawled away.
Are you muted? Uh-oh. We can't hear you.
Yeah, you guys are like kind of cutting out a little bit. Oh,
Oh, sorry.
yeah. My baby's down there playing.
Ah,
Two of them.
both babies.
Playing in a. Yeah.
So Tom is taking the full lead on this one. We
I'll
got
attempt to.
yeah.
Yes.
Yep. So several questions were brought up, but I guess I will go ahead. Tom, go ahead and just take this away.
So,
man. Yeah.
in getting ready, like I left, took care of family stuff, and I came back. What it got me thinking, like, what brings you back and into interests and the passions and things like that. My mind was just led through this nifty little maze. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to ask ourselves, or ask you guys, what brings you back to doing projects that you enjoy doing? Is it like a personal choice, or is it like a need, like you have to go back to whatever you were doing? Like what are you passionate about? You can answer either namely about Biblical Chili coming back to record every week, or what calls you back to doing whatever you're passionate about.
I would say most of the time, isn't it? Well, that's kind of a loaded question, because if it's ministerially driven or whether it's like hobby driven, because
Right.
there's some people that have hobbies, and like there's people that like shooting guns, as we were talking about earlier, and it's sometimes it's a hobby. And what brings you back to wanting to do that?
Right.
Wow, I don't know. Maybe if I could start off by saying, I think in every case, wouldn't it be, at least I know in my case, what brings me back is the experience. Specifically, like I'll just talk specifically about Biblical Chili. When I was accosted, is that the right word? Accosted by Tom to come to a Bible study.
Oh, you mean drafted or actually? Yeah, colted.
I don't know. It was. Hey, let's come to a Bible study. And I think that's what we called it for so long, a Bible study.
Talk about Bible
And
study.
we're talking about a Bible study, and that experience of the first few times was so much. I don't even want to cheapen it, but I just say so much fun. It was just the excitement of having that experience and having that that platform to say the things that we've always been talking about, yet no one else is listening. Like the things that you and I talk about at work is just you and I talking about it at work. It's like, great. Now where's it going?
Right.
And Tom found a way to get it out there somewhere. And I would think what usually brings me back is the experience. Because like my wife and I are I think two favorite hobbies are like camping and roller coasters. If you could put roller coaster down as a hobby. I will. My stamp of approval.
It's an activity. We'll go
Roller
activity.
coasters are a hobby. But anyway, yeah, I would say the experience, definitely the experience, because once you have that experience the first time, it's almost as though you want to try to recultivate that back all over again and try to bring back that, like, wow, that was awesome. And then next time, wow, that was still awesome. The third time, 100 episodes later, wow, that was still awesome.
We on like 300 and something.
I don't know now.
Yeah.
No, we're not. No, podcast episodes were at like 108 or 112 because it's weekly, something like that. So
I think it's a little more than that.
Is it?
Because we had
a
good bunch there before we even started recording the Bible, and then we did 2 books of the Bible.
We did 2. Yeah, you're right. It's got to be more than that.
So let me go to Google Podcasts real quick.
Oh no!
And look up Biblical Chili.
I wasn't trying to like.
Huh.
I was just curious. I'm sorry, but I was just curious. I mean, it's not like we're not talking about Biblical Chili on Biblical Chili
on Google Podcasts, or find us on Podbean. It's
or
really cool.
Spotify. You can find us on any of your actual listening pleasures.
Shameless plug.
So what about like you did? I believe you did bring up like going back like what brings you back to church every week?
Right, he did.
And that that was one question I think that came up.
Honestly, to add to yours, not only the experience but also the people that you're with. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Because like sometimes it's just not only the experience, but I had an experience where me and my friend Nate, who actually like we started getting into religion together and everything else, he got back into it. I started to, but we went to several different churches and we had an experience and we discussed our experiences after every single time we went to the church. He was with his wife and I was like, we just went there because we always hung out together. It wasn't like the fact that we're like, oh, it's Sunday, we can't hang out. No, let's go to church and then we'll go hang out. We'll go do something fun afterwards. But it was just something like we had one where he was just saying fire and brimstone, you're all going to hell. And we had other ones where it was like, just because you listen to Harry Potter, you're all witches. And I'm like, okay, nope, don't care for either one of these two. Let's go on.
Uh-oh.
What?
No, Susanna's just like freezing sometimes.
Oh
no!
I think she's outside and
I was
losing
wondering.
signal.
I was wondering if it's my connection or if it was hers.
So I mean, it's not only experience, but also just the people you're around, because building that relationship not only with God but also with other people, it's just nice. It's just okay. These people actually have a similar thought, even though the fact that we're not on the same page.
Yeah. No, well, not always.
I mean, Tom's in his own little coloring book.
Oh yeah, yep.
Justin's over there eating carrots.
I know for me, it's pretty much all the above because it's the people you get to meet and the things that you do. And so in interests, we all have a ton of interest. Like, we dabble, if I will say that loosely, into whatever thing looks interesting, whether it be fishing or playing board games or playing, even Dungeons and Dragons or podcasting or, trying new jobs out for the first time. You try things, carpentry, plumbing, you name it. And if you have an interest in it, you don't know if you like it or not unless you try it. And I like to think of my life as a big old pot of spaghetti noodles. You throw it against the wall to see what sticks. So kind of try everything, try to experience those. So when we have these interests and what brings us back, that allure, that experience of actually doing it, the people that we're doing it with, the fun, the satisfaction that it gives us when we do it individually. What does it take for those interests to turn into passion? Like what would you guys define as passion?
Ooh. Ooh. See,
Ooh, okay. So the difference between interests and passions.
interest would actually be okay. I have an interest in actual 3D printing. The passion part would be the fact that I'd need to actually learn a lot of different things. So it's an interest, not a passion. I mean, I'm able to do things, but I'm not able to do things. And I think it's more the ability and also the actual drive behind it.
I looked up the meaning of passion, and there was one of the little Google blips that talked about in the Bible. It talked about passion, but when it talked about the word passion, it was the pain and all the things that Jesus went through going up to the resurrection. That's what they kind of called the passion.
Right.
Going through that. So, he had an unwavering want to do this. Like, he could have given it up any time to go, but the passion was overcoming all the trials. So what would it take for us to make something an interest, put up with all the toil, all the heartaches and all the hardships to make it a perfect thing, to actually better it at the end? When I was thinking of this framework, I thought of the military. In the military, you're looking at the heroes that are out there serving our country, and how we look up to them growing up, and we're told all these great stories, and I want to be that. Well, then you sign up and you're like, I'm going to be a soldier, and then comes boot camp. or basic training, and then what you have to go through, and it leaves its mark on you as you go through. So you could be a soldier for the rest of your life, or serve your time and then get out, but you never lose those experiences. You never lose that
No.
those things that you went through. So what are you guys passionate about? What are you guys passionate about enough to go through all those things? Like, if you were to say, well, I'm interested in all this, but this is my passion, what would you guys would say is a passion?
Yeah, I guess.
Go ahead.
I guess I would say, like, the difference between interest or passion is that internal drive, spirit to want to do something. So it's like a desire, like a need that you have to do. Like, you feel like you just can't not do it. So that's why you're willing to, like, do whatever or go through things, or like if you're a passionate parent or passionate, artist, or, it's like you feel like it's the air you breathe, you have to do those things.
I've seen some of the stuff you put out there on Facebook. Like, what would you say is a passion of yours?
Definitely art. But I don't know, I guess to, like, say why, like, it's something that, I've taught myself. Like, I've had to learn all the things, and you dedicate yourself to it, you put time to it, and you see how it affects other people, like, and just doing things. Like, for me, like, I just love doing something that brings joy to other people. But yeah, so I guess
the stuff you put out there is really good. And I was like, well, it's just like one of her hobbies she just dabbles in, or is this something that you really enjoy doing and, like, enjoy putting out there? And so it's really cool that you're an artist. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, and I guess I'm passionate about that in all aspects of life, like, whether it's my home or, like, the food that I'm making. Like, I just want everything, like, my kids to experience, my family and my friends to experience, like, everything in a very beautiful way. It's like, having, like, pretty dishes or plating something nicely, just to like make something that should be small, like gorgeous. And I don't know. I just like, as far as cultivating a home, and I don't know if that's what led me to art in the first place, was this desire to have a home that people just felt welcome and cozy in. Like anyone could come in and just feel like they could just sit on the couch and like decompress and have all their needs met. And so through that, like just starting to try to paint or find cool things in nature and incorporate it in. But yeah, it's definitely what I spend all my time doing in one way or another. So I would say it's passion.
Sorry, we're talking and a gnat just like flew up my nose.
Oh no.
So I wasn't in like recoiling or reacting to anything you were saying. It was just it tickled so bad. I was just fighting the sneeze.
I thought he was about to blow burgers on me. I'm not even gonna lie to you. That's the reason why I
I
started
didn't,
laughing.
I didn't even notice. I'm like,
I'm like, oh no, no.
Sorry about that. Whew. Justin, Sully, what are passions? Something that you guys are passionate about?
unfortunately, mine is like, at least as far as the track record of my life, it would be, I have a passion for learning. To dig up the truth, and not even that, like not even just for, you know, the selfish reason of me to know. It's, I've always had that, like, I want to learn for the sake of, you know, cleaning up the mire and the untruths or the half truths that are out there, to, you know, dig around and find what the real truths are in life, and to have that capacity to share it with other people. Cause I love to teach people. I love it. Usually when we end up getting a new board game, guess what ends up happening? Justin gets the rule book and I got to sit there for 10 or 15 minutes and I go, okay, this is what we got to do. And then I kind of lay out how it's supposed to happen and how the game is supposed to be played, because everybody knows, like, at least in my family, whenever we play, Justin can at least learn it and then, you know, take out all of the stuff you don't need to know, like just exactly point here. This is where we go. This is where we go. We roll this dice and we pick up this card. Like, you know, and I just, that is a passion of mine. I love to have those opportunities to help people in the manner of teaching or revealing truth. That's why, like, Tom and I think, what was that website we went to had a whole bunch of videos. Digma, yeah, Digma.com. They still have several videos up there. They actually put a few more up there. They're just videos on trying to help you stop thinking the same way. Like, they literally break your style of thinking on purpose to help you actually think about a problem, instead of allowing your preconceived notions help you think about a problem. They say, like, the you know, I'm an atheist. It's called like Atheist 2 or something like that. Yeah.
Atheist 2.
And it's awesome because all they do is, he's like, it was a true story. The author and the one who makes the videos and stuff, the content creator, he was right next to somebody sitting on an airplane, and the guy noticed the guy's a preacher, by the way. And the person next to him noticed that he was reading a religious book, and he said, you know, oh, I'm an atheist. And they got into a tuffle of conversation, just kind of back and forth. And finally the guy says, okay, listen, tell me about the God you say you don't believe in. And he described some kind of rendition of God that he's been introduced to his whole life. And he said, well, guess what? I don't believe in that God either. And he said, let me tell you about the God that I believe in, the God of the Bible. And he actually described what scripture says about the Bible, not what this man's experience of different churches and running into Christians in his life. He tore down his thinking and said, okay, everything you just said, I agree with. Now let's have a conversation. Because now all of a sudden it just, and that's what I mean. I love that kind of stuff, because I don't like sitting there. And I know this is weird, but I have a passion for not believing the status quo just for the sake of believing the status quo. Like if anybody comes up to me and tries to have a conversation, tries to have a different opinion, tries to have a debate with me, I will listen to you out. Even if I don't necessarily agree with everything, I will still listen to you out, because it's the passion is I want to get down to the truth. I want to get down to the understanding, not just for myself, but because the fact is understanding is catchy. If I understand something that all of a sudden I understand, well, I've got to tell somebody to, give that like, almost like that. What is that? When you tell somebody something that you just learned and it gives that, oh, wow, that makes sense. That confirmation of, okay, yeah, that aha, like, am I nuts by believing this or by thinking this? Oh, no. Okay. So it's actually legitimate. So you have that aha moments, the did you know moments, you know?
Yeah. and you see that even plays through your passion there, plays through even the work. He's a continuous improvement manager, specialist, and he changes work all the time for the better, teaching people along the way, and so it shows through. What about you, Sully? I have a feeling I know, but
See, I have multiple.
Don't say guns. Don't say guns is your passion.
I was gonna say guns, and shooting things is passion. This is
that would still be an interest, in my opinion.
Don't get me wrong. I dabble in it. I do this. I do that. But I've not turned actually any of them, with your definition, into an actual passion. I have interest in actual YouTube and other things like that to actually build on my guns, and then also my ability to be out in the woods fishing, hunting, and I also want to do weightlifting and other things like that, because exercising, getting out with nature and having a good time, and then also learning different things, teaching other people, it's just fun. I also like to put people back together at times. It's a good time. But I mean, you went from Susanna, the girly girl, and then we went to Justin, the teacher, and then me, the destructive boy. I'm sorry, that's what happens.
And she's not a girly girl. She's an artist.
That was the most fun thing that we have.
I'm a pretty girly girl. It's fun. I like pink and sparkles and babies.
Sparkles and babies.
I like sparkles too. It's okay.
I like unicorns.
What?
I like unicorns.
I like unicorns.
For me, my passion is entertaining. I like to enter. If anybody has known me outside of work, I always have ideas. Outside of life and all that. I always have ideas. I've always found myself helping put on like a Relay for Life event. We got Heritage Days coming up. I'm not always happy with being the person that just contributes to it. I enjoy planning. This is something about putting the effort in to build something and then watching everybody enjoy it.
Right.
You can get into this like step back and go, I had a hand in this. It's kind of cool.
So your passion, I wouldn't necessarily put it as entertainer or entertaining. You're just a creator,
facilitator.
You like putting, like making new things and making it work. And there's got to be a way. And
let's try it this way.
The idea, man.
Right.
I got Sean here chiming in here. Go ahead and read that.
My passion is to learn something new daily, or else I get bored. So I'm also interested in learning different things. I can see that.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Learning things daily.
Now, I could see how difficult that would be.
Learning a new thing daily? Are you kidding me?
No, don't get me wrong. I've learned a lot of different things, especially through like different things. Like I said, I've been bored watching YouTube daily, and I've learned multiple different things in fun facts and things like that. Like Bruce Lee was broke. Didn't know that. That was interesting.
Yeah, he was.
I didn't in fun little things that were just interesting. And then also the fact that we Justin and I got in a conversation before this podcast even started, even before Tom got here, I wanted to know the origin of chickens. Okay, I know
If
we can
anybody
say-
out there knows,
I've looked that up before. I've spent like a good amount of time trying to figure that out.
It was
yeah?
just a random thought I had. I was like, wait, I know how we can figure out how to get horses. Horses came from Spain, Spain from Canada, and we won the Mustang, and then and it just all pieced together. And I was like, okay, cows are this, cows are that, and like I was piecing it all together. And I was like, wait, where did chickens come from?
The egg.
Yeah,
God, no.
yeah, again, like I got on that. I was like, wait, the egg before the chicken? What? Huh? What?
This thought that nobody's ever had before. Which came first?
Right.
Oh man.
So we all have our interests and we have our passions.
The difference, though, I would think that the difference would be like your interest is just. I think Sully kind of hit it on the head when he was talking about like your interests are just things that are, of interest to you. Your passions are something that really. And I think Susanna said this as well. It's really something that drives you. Like it is a passion is a driving force. I would say an interest doesn't necessarily get you up out of bed and go, oh yeah, let's go. A passion is like it's that cup of coffee in the morning that goes and get you going. That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think too. It's like that internal drive that wants to like externally do something about it or like create something, whereas like an interest, like you could be interested in a lot of things, but like if you're interested in cats, like you love your cat. If you're passionate about cats, you're gonna like have an Instagram feed for your cat. You're gonna like write books about why cats are the best. You want everyone to know that cats are awesome. Like it's not just like, oh yeah, I like my cat.
All right. Well, how about this question stemming off of this question?
Mhm.
Because I like understanding the passions. So with the passion, is it something, if it's a passion, is it something that you are, and understand this word, evangelical about?
Ooh.
Going off is exactly what you just said, Susanna, which is if I love cats, well, I'm going to be writing books and I'm going to be telling everybody about it and how wonderful they are and, taking pictures of my cat. Like you are being like basically, and I'm putting a religious term on this, but like you're being like a preacher or an evangelism for catism, evangelist for catism. I don't mean that in a religious sense, but do you get what I mean? Like if your passion is for dogs, then you are going to highlight that in your life in order to share that section of your life. That if that is your passion drive is dogs, then you're almost going to be like an evangelist for dogs. I mean, I know once again, I don't like the religious connotation here, but I mean,
I don't think that it starts that way. I think that you will get urged to do something like that from another friend that has
I don't even know where my phone is. That was yours.
Where's that
I
hers?
think that was hers.
Oh,
It
okay.
wasn't I was like, mine's on
oh
mute.
my
I
goodness,
do
that is
better.
so loud.
But
Okay,
I
go
think
ahead.
that your passion is if your passion is dogs, somebody on the outside of that passion will see that, and then they'll be like, you know what, you should like share this with other people, because if you're passionate about that, you might not be passionate about going and telling the world. It might start out with a friend, someone.
See,
locally.
but that's what I'm asking though, is do passions naturally go that route eventually? Like if a full bloomed passion, would it eventually turn into that?
I think so, because I honestly do. I think so, because if you were interested in cats or if you were interested in dogs and you had a driving passion for it, no matter what conversation you had, if it was brought up once, you would have a wealth of information to share with this, and you'd want to. You'd be ready.
You'd be like
so
a dog
engaged in that.
apologist.
Yeah, you'd be like, I love this topic. Yeah, let's talk about this. And
Yeah. All right, I got Sean again, and then go ahead and continue on.
Yep.
Sadly, most people have.
Go ahead.
Sadly, most people don't have a passion for Christ and doing His work.
Right.
That's kind of what we're trying to figure out here.
Yep.
If it's a passion itself.
Well, the Bible talks a little bit about individual interests, individual passions, And I say a little bit from the little bit that I looked into, like, oh, Mr. Google, what does the Bible say about individual passions? Well, reading through the numerous points where it talked about shining God's will over our own, and all the other very biblical answers. There was this one from Romans from Paul, Romans chapter 12. I'll start with verse 6. This comes just after him talking about how we're all parts of the body of Christ.
Right.
And so starting off in verse 6 of chapter 12 in Romans, we have different gifts according to the grace given to each of us. If your gift is prophesying, then prophecy in accordance with your faith. If it is serving, then serve. If it is teaching, then teach. If it is to encourage, then give encouragement. If it is giving, then give generously. If it is to lead, do it diligently. If it is to show mercy, do it cheerfully. So here he's highlighting the differences. Not everyone's going to be interested in dogs or cats or anything like that.
Right.
Also, boy, I wish I had the address right here in my brain, but where it says, in all things you do it as if you were doing it for God.
Colossians.
Yep. So, and that was very paraphrased.
No, it's Colossians 3:23. It says, "Work willingly at whatever you do it as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people."
Wow, that kind of goes along the lines of Henry Ford. Henry Ford actually has a very famous speech that actually I cannot wait to go back to work just to actually inform people of this. Because in Henry Ford's actual thing, if you are actually out to get money, to make money as a business, you will fail. It is actually a personal thing. It is not actually a business idea. It's a personal thing.
Right. He was Henry Ford was I cannot remember the exact quote, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He was saying, if you go to open a business just for the sake of opening a business, you're probably going to fail, because unless you got a passion to do it, what's going to drive you? What's going to get you up in the morning? What's going to push you forward to get up at 4 a.m. and make the donuts?
Right. Another 4 a.m. YouTube look. Sorry.
So we have this passion now. I just came up with a question out of the blue, and it's got a definitive answer, like a yes and no thing. But it's like, if we're interested in being a Christian, or if we're interested in living a godly life, but yet we don't have the passion for it, are we? Does God love us any less? Are we any less of a Christian? If we don't have the passion for it. And I guess because this is such a simple, like a yes, no, because of course not. God loves you anyway. What does it take to turn an interest into a passion? We all have our start, and I'll say it every time I get an opening to segue into a quote that Eric Nevin said: "Never judge your beginning by somebody else's middle." And so if you are just becoming interested in a Christian life, you said the prayer, and now, okay, I'm a Christian, but I don't have the passion that the pastor does up on the stage,
right?
Belting it out. Do I belong? Is it something just that's going to be an interest that I just leave on the shelf and walk away from, and then come back to, or eventually come back to? How we always had those dusty books. I'll pick it up later, and then we never get a chance to go back to it. So what? And I don't want to like say like a pie in the sky kind of answer. Like, what would it take, like, to turn an interest? You don't want it to die. You see the value in it. You're just going to stay interested in it for it to turn into a passion.
I would say that it has to become like real and tangible to you. So like if you're interested in it, but like you go and it hasn't yet maybe like affected you in a way where you're like, wow, like I see God working, then you might just be interested. But once it's like, in your hands, once you can like hold it in your hands and experience it, I think it's like really hard not to be passionate about it.
I got a comment here.
If you have no interest, it'll eventually be put on the back shelf. Yep.
Yeah. So I got thinking about this. So like the first question is, and this is kind of like the preliminary. Okay, so is it any, if I'm interested in the Christian life, but I'm not passionate about it, I think it, as far as God's love for you, I don't think it would be any less, but because this is, and this, I hope somebody gets the aha moment that is listening or watching right now. God is not the factor that changes in this equation. We are. So it does not have to do with God loving us any less. Okay. It has to do with our interaction with him and our love for him. So just like with anyone we say we love, if someone is just an interest for me, if I could put it that way, they're an interest. We have a word for that in the social realm. It's called an acquaintance, right? If someone is a passion for me, then we have a word for that. That's called family. That's called friends. Like people that you genuinely care about, that you would say, they message you and they say, hey, I need help. And you drop what you're doing and you say, okay, right? Those are family. Those are friends.
Mm-hmm.
If God remains an interest and doesn't go into a passion eventually, which by the way, just like what you said, Tom, like you could be in the interest stage right now, right? But unless it turns into a passion, then is it really a love for God? It has to turn to some flavor of passion, whatever degree of passion, because otherwise, like for example, here, we wouldn't be coming back if we didn't have some degree of passion for biblical chili, for talking about the Lord, for looking up things in scripture on live YouTube and Facebook and other platforms. Like if we didn't have some form of passion, we wouldn't be here. And that's what I'm saying. So I think it would eventually have to, your relationship with the Lord or your interest in a Christian lifestyle would have to eventually convert into a passion of some kind. Otherwise, then it was always an interest to begin with. I do have one comment before we go on. I don't want to lose any thought here, but
Yep.
It's like giving your life to Christ. The more you dig into the Bible, the more your passion builds. Absolutely. Thank you, Sean. Absolutely.
One thing I wanted to bring up, and I'm glad you went this way with it, is the relationship. We say excuse me.
Those darn gnats.
Yeah. We say we're going to build our life in God. And we always end up using in God or for God, or we use him as like a thing, as an interest,
right?
When it's an actual being that's with us. So if we have an interest in a Christian life, if we kind of like nurture that and just bring God along with us for everything that we do, becomes a friend, has an acquaintance. Justin, there's places I know that if you and I wanted to go and have a good time and we were together, I know where we can go, where we should avoid going, things that you wouldn't be really interested in doing, things like that. And that's how we'd plan our time together. We would avoid these places because I know that you don't like these things. You're not always into Comic-Con stuff, so we wouldn't like go and hit up every panel. And so through being if you're interested in like the Christian life, and it's like, well, this isn't really for me, but you are interested in God, you are interested in learning who Jesus is, learning who God is, learning what the Bible has to say about it, and you take them with you throughout your everyday. You don't have to change what you're doing just for the sake of changing, because like, tell you what, if I was told by somebody on the street that I needed to eat nothing but asparagus for the next 3 weeks and only live on asparagus because that's the best diet for me, I'd drop it tomorrow because it's not a fit. It's not appealing at all, you know. But if I'm not changing my lifestyle for somebody else, I'm doing it organically because I know, well, this is the person that's going to be walking through life with me for the rest of my life, then this is how I'm going to live. So I don't think that it's as simple as like I'm living for God. No, it's I'm living with God.
Oh, that is good. Oh, that's a t-shirt. Write it down. Somebody write that down. I'm not living for God. I'm living with him. Oh man. I'd have to have some. Oh, sorry. That like really got me going.
No vacancy.
No, it's true because if that makes it a relational thing that helps people's perspective see this more as a relational thing, because like, for example, I have a passion for my kids. I have a passion for my wife, right? That's because they're special to me. They're close to me, you know. Well, you know, what about this person that I've never met that lives far away that I don't even know who they are? Like, well, that's different. Like, they're just an interest to me. There's not that connection, that natural connection that's been, I don't know who these are. We got comments, but
all right. I love comments. Play World. It's all right, Josh. We understand. That's Josh Benefield.
Oh yeah. His channel. I forgot his
Pray
name.
for Josh and Mike and their family. His mom is his mom / Mike's wife is got some health issues going on. So keep them in mind. Keep them in your prayers.
It's still good to hear from you, man. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I got lost there for a second. I was like, "Were you guys?" Oh, the kid. Okay, now I gotcha.
The kid.
All right,
The kid.
Yeah.
Kid.
I'm sorry. At this point in time, how many other people have we had? I've been coming here for almost 2 years now, and it's been us 3 pretty much.
But yeah, oh wow.
So
I don't know. So let me ask this then. What would be the best route or the best suggestion or tip or something to if you were to give somebody something like a tip or something to say, how could I turn God into more than just an interest, into a passion? Because the obvious thing is people are thinking, oh, well, if God's a passion for me, then obviously I'm going to be a missionary out in, you know, Southern Australia. That's like always the stereotypical thing. I don't know about Australia, but
the Outback.
I'm not going to make it next week through. Oh, okay,
right.
man. That's all right. We still love you.
I think that following up, starting in verse 9 of Romans chapter 12 would be a really good start. Because if you're wanting to change your company, if you're wanting to live with God, live with Christ, understand what he enjoys, understand what he enjoys doing. You know, they say God is love. The Bible says God is love. So here in Romans 12, this little section of this chapter is titled Love in Action. And so how would Jesus act? You know, how would love act? And so here's starting in verse 9 of chapter 12. Love must be sincere. Hate what is evil, cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor, serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with the Lord's people who are in need, and practice hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Mourn with those who mourn. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position. Do not be conceited. Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everyone. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, it is mine to avenge, I will repay, says the Lord. On the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals on his head. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good.
Ooh.
So going off of what you were talking about relationally, if you're walking through life with God, with Christ, then these are some of the things, just very practical, simple things in life that would be attractive to the Lord, if you will.
Yep.
Be attractive to the Lord, if I can say it that way, because you're doing these things. That's a very practical way of saying, well, how would I turn this from an interest to a passion? Well, one decision at a time, one step at a time, one, you become friends with somebody like you were talking about. You become friends with somebody, and all of a sudden you're like, well, I know this friend wouldn't enjoy this. They would enjoy it, and it starts becoming more and more easier. Okay, I got 3 comments. They kind of came in quick.
All right. What did
Oh,
you
gosh.
Oh,
The first half of the episode.
first half, right?
the first half, yeah.
And then Josh also says,
What kind of passion?
What kind of passion? So to answer those very quickly, Josh, we were talking about passion today, and what brings us back and what drives us to do the things we do, whether it's something like a hobby or something we just enjoy, or whether it's just doing biblical chili or being an evangelist or whatever the case calls for. What is that drive? What is that passion? And then we were tailoring it to your relationship with God. How do you turn that from an interest to a passion itself? So, but this one you might have to read.
I don't think it's something you say. Wouldn't it be more like something you do? Jesus showed us how much he loved us by dying on the cross. And I agree. It's not as much as what you say, because actions do speak louder.
Yeah.
Because I have to watch my verbiage here, because Christ could have saved us without the sacrifice, but in doing the sacrifice and in being the sacrificial lamb, he showed through action how much he cared.
Right.
And so, and I'm not saying we're not trying to say that we're saying that we're going to be doing good, but I know that the first couple times I hung out with Justin here, it was a lot of fun. We enjoyed it, and so I wanted to do that more. And so if you are reading about it and you're living life like you're living with Christ, then when you see the fruits start happening, that's what's going to be like the attention craver, the part that turns it into a passion. Like, I like how this feels.
Right.
This is good. This is contrary to what I've been taught my entire life, or this is contrary to what I've known up to this point. But if I try this baby steps, like I'm going to go volunteer for no other reason than just to volunteer for the soup kitchen, and then sit back and go, this feels good. Why does this feel good? Oh, well, this is what love looks like. Well, I want to see what more like love looks like. Well, then, finish chapter,
Right. No, I like that. Yeah, and just to go off of what you were saying, so that there's no confusion about what we were talking about here, is Christ did that. Like, Christ died on the cross. Christ himself said, listen, there is no greater love than if a man were to give up his life for his friend. And that was the point.
Mm-hmm.
He said, there is no greater love. And that's true. There is no greater love than if someone were to give up their life for someone they love. And yeah, that's awesome. Whoa.
Oh, I like woes.
Something's happening with the internet, because it's like all of a sudden they just go.
Yeah.
I think Josh wants to join.
Can you show me guys how to join in StreamYard?
Yeah, you just got to click on the link.
We sure will. You're in our chat. You just click on the link, and you can join up with us right now if you wanted to. We will know Christians by their love. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wish that we would see more of today, like on Sunday morning, seeing these congregations that have thousands of people or even hundreds of people or even 20 people like get together and go out in their towns and like pick up trash or go to the city and hand out, I don't know, anything you think of. Like we have so much manpower and I feel like we could like all band together and do so much. Like, and there are people that do, and there are churches that are better at it than others, but like I just like when I drive through my area, you know, it's like on every corner, like there's these mega churches. I live in like mega church city. And I just like see all these people on Sunday mornings where they like stop traffic so that people can get into this. But like there's like cops out there like directing traffic so that people can get in there to go into the building, like this massive building, so they can like use their massive stadium and their crazy expensive sound equipment and their like pastor with bodyguards, you know, and it's like, wow, like you have all these resources that could be put to better use. Like, yes, I'm saying that it can be put to better use. And like just reading like the way you said, like the Romans, I don't know, where it said like do all these things, like I think it would just take such a short, like in 1 week, if every church got together and said, we're gonna go out and do these things, like you'd make such a crazy mega difference in 1 week. Like it would not, like the world could change so fast. And we just like don't.
It would literally be overnight. Literally.
There's a country song out there called "Those Crazy Christians," and if you get a chance, listen to it. It's by Brad Paisley. It's hilarious, but it's true at the same time. You know, like when he thinks of Christian, you know, he's like these guys could be busy all day, but if something goes wrong, everyone's gonna bake you a casserole and bring it over. Okay?
Yep. Yeah. And that's it's actually funny you said that. My church used to, and I say used to, but COVID kind of put a kibosh on this. The church used to, we would have potluck, and then whenever we would have potluck, we would, you know, whatever the leftovers were, we would put them into like meal things, and then the church would go to the local down at Boney Park. They would go to the
nursing home.
Yeah, the nursing home, and then they would sing songs for about an hour or two. They'd hand out food and just say, you know, these are really nice meals and desserts and, you know, stuff like that. And it just, but obviously COVID, like all visitors were at one point just, and I don't even know if now visitors can come in there. But I agree with you because it's, I don't know, it's just, it's powerful to know what would happen if we all did that. Oh my God, another one here.
It's sad to say the Jehovah's Witnesses are the only ones who go door to door, perhaps for the wrong reasons. What's happened to the church? What happened to the church that used to do that?
No, absolutely. Well, and that's, I don't know. That's kind of the funny thing about that. Like door to doors. This is a whole nother topic, guys. I don't want to get on this, but like right now, the only ones that are known to go door to door to help people and talk people and to do Bible studies are usually Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons. That used to be a common thing. Like Christians used to just do that. Oh, hey, you want to go door to door? Yeah. And they would just knock on doors and just knock on doors in their neighborhoods. They'd go to another neighborhood. They would see how people are doing. They would, you know, hey, do you want to have a Bible study? Or sometimes they would sell literature or give away literature, you know?
Or even, hey, like, do you guys need anything? Like, here's some, like I went to the grocery store and bought some extra toilet paper. I heard there's a shortage. Like, take some.
That's gold now. Sean, I got props for this one, Sean.
Yeah, they lost their passion.
Yeah, yep.
Do you think that the door-to-door stuff has like merged or morphed, if you will, from the smaller churches where the church was like the centermost part of understanding and the window of what's happening in the world? They would go there and the preacher would be kind of like the leader of the town. And if somebody was absent, they would go knock on the door, see how they were. And then if there was enough people missing, the deacons would step up and go do it. And, you know, if the church dwindled down so much, then they would just like, why do I stop here? Why don't I go next door too? And why don't I go next door too? And I wonder if it was just a morph, something that transitioned out of necessity.
Yeah. A lot of churches used to do that. Our church, actually, if people are missing, our deacons will. It's their job, and the elders in our church as well to go, oh, hey, so-and-so's been missing for a couple weeks. Has anybody heard from them? And check it out. My grandpa, same thing. My grandpa's a pastor, for those of you who don't know. He's been preaching for literally probably 52 years now. He's like 90 something right now. He's been preaching forever. And that was one of his things. If one person he knows that never misses church was not there, you could bet sure that the pastor himself, my grandpa, would either be at their door, hey, do you need help? Is everything okay? Mm-hmm. Or give them a call at least, just to that once again, what we're talking about here, that passion was there. Now we're just talking about the passion of a pastor themselves, which may be, once again, it's a little bit of a different, I don't want to say different, but they're in charge of an entire congregation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Now the church has become a business.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a sad phrase.
That's the reason why. Fun fact: the fact that you can actually sign up people for Jehovah's Witnesses and actual Mormons on their local website to actually have them go to their addresses.
Yep.
FYI.
Yes, you can.
How difficult, guys? I'm gonna put us on the spot here again. How uncomfortable was it for me to ask you what you're passionate about?
Honestly, it kind of was. I had to think about it. Because isn't that getting a little personal?
Right.
Because the passion comes from your core.
Right.
But to me, a passion would actually be more, it's you, okay? It's what kind of makes you you. It's not just what you like to do. Because Justin and I will get on discussions on different religions. We'll go on back and forth on the fact that some mythical northern gods are actually very similar to Jesus and other things like that. We get on the fact that the Greeks were actually just different gods that were actually still kind of Jesus. We can go along the lines of this, but it's still something he actually is passionate about. He actually learns all this stuff. Me and him go back and forth because it was actually part of warfare. That's the reason why I got into that. But continuing on, but it's still our two passions come together to actually, and that's actually kind of who we are. Okay, that's what we do. And to me, honestly, it was kind of an eye opener because I know the fact that now I have a whole bunch of interests.
Yeah, I think we're all born with that passion, with that spark to want to create and do things. And so it's that whole idea too, where you'll know them by their fruits. You're going to be producing something. We all have a passion and a drive to create and produce. And so look at what we are producing and, we can kind of judge.
I think that
who our Father is, where we can determine, wait, this is what's coming from what I'm doing. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it helping people? Is it hurting people?
Wow.
The reason why I asked the question is, we're talking about how if you're really passionate about something, then you'd be more engaged to insert your knowledge into a conversation. It's a lot easier to share common interest in that point when someone's talking about dogs. I'm a dog fanatic. Let's just talk more about dogs. Yeah, and then through that conversation, the other person will say, "Wow, he's got a good passion for dogs," or something along those lines. Where I can see how difficult it would be to say, I have a passion for living with Jesus, and how awkward and feeling like you're going to get judged because now you're putting your heart out there. You're putting out some kind of belief that you're not sure how well it's going to get received. Is this guy a loon? Is he all there? But however, when there's a conversation that talks about Jesus, and we we know about Jesus. We live with Jesus all the time, right? And so we can contribute to that conversation,
right? Wow.
Yeah, I got something to add on that.
Yeah, go ahead, Josh. Welcome.
So what you're talking about, passion. So the way I think of what passion is like a almost like a strong feeling to do something you like. Wouldn't you guys agree with that? Or like very much, would you say?
That I think
we
what
went with interest on that.
what term did we say though? We said that drive.
Yeah,
I think that drive that does that pushes you forward almost. I mean, would that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's all born out of our interests. So like if let's take I'll name drop here, Prove It. Like your parents there, Josh, were very interested in Prove It at the very beginning, interested in what it was, and they went through and did their studies on it. They started taking it. They started following that lifestyle, and now nobody can look at anything that your parents put out there without knowing that they're passionate about the things that they're standing up for here. They're passionate about Prove It. Passionate about Christ. They're passionate about so many things because it's what they wake up in the morning wanting to do. It's their drive. I can't Dad, every Tuesday or Thursday he cooks in the kitchen with his Prove It meal stuff. It's his passion. Yeah. It's what he likes to put out there. But
I got Sean chiming in.
If in my life I help one person come to the Lord, then my passion would be to help that one person.
I love that.
That brings to mind the story of the starfish. All the starfish are getting washed up on the beach, and this little kid is going through and picking up one starfish at a time and throwing it in the water. And there's an older person on the beach saying, "Why are you wasting your time? You can never save all these starfish." But he's like, "No, but I can save this one, and I can save this one, and I can save this one." Yep.
Right.
I feel that same passion for kids, though. Our daughter is now going off to college, and all the kids that she's grown up with, they're like more of your kids, right? So, you're going to do anything you can to help these kids along in life.
Right.
So if you can see one succeed, then, that's a big win for everybody right there.
Right. Yeah. Praise God.
Does anybody have any last comments or anything about passion, interests, walk with living with God, or anything that we talked about today?
No, man, I'm good.
I'm all right.
You're all right.
You just had it open my eyes, and I kind of hate you for it. Like I may get over it, but there's going to be a dislike towards you right now. Like even though I'm looking up the crazy Christian song right now,
pulling people's passions out it's personal, and I don't know.
But
awesome.
You guys did great today. Thanks for sharing. I knew this was kind of a different episode when it's like I'm in the spotlight and I'm talking about stuff that I'm interested in. Oh man, it's gonna go either way. But I'm so glad that you guys were we're very transparent and open with talking today. So I think it was a really good time. And thanks everyone that was out there. Sean and Steve Winter. He commented about this even before we logged in today. He commented on this yesterday. Thanks for interacting today and yesterday. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week. And in 2 weeks, we'll be at the Ascota County Fairgrounds for Heritage Days. We'll see you there.
Absolutely.
This has been Tom.
This has been Sully.
This has been Justin.
This is Susanna.
This has been Josh.
Thanks again, guys. We forgot that part. Have a good night.
All right. We love you guys. Bye.